You ever catch yourself thinking, nobody could possibly be that shameless, and then life just goes, wanna bet? Well, buckle up because I've got a string of stories today that'll make you question whether common sense is on permanent vacation or maybe just hiding out at the office Christmas party with a shot of bourbon in hand. Yeah, we're diving into workplace antics, family meltdowns, parking lot pettiness, and a funeral that turns into a full-blown family circus. So grab your coffee, kick your feet up, and try not to snort laugh in public. All right. First up, let me take you to the Midwest, where my late Uncle Mitch, a senior engineer and the unofficial party czar at his firm, left a little legend behind. This guy, he wasn't just the numbers and gauges type. No, Mitch had a sense of humor sharp as a tack and a heart big enough to keep the office together through layoffs and lousy potlucks. And every year he'd host the Christmas party funded by this little tin donation box outside his office, old school, no Venmo, just a slot for cash and a silent agreement not to be a jerk. Now, about a month before Christmas, one year, Mitch checks the box and it's empty. Flat broke. But he'd seen people dropping bills in all week, so the only logical conclusion, somebody's got sticky fingers. Enter Jason, the owner's nephew. Classic. I'm not here to work. I'm here to inherit type slick hair, too much cologne, smile that could curdle milk. Jason rounds the corner, spots Mitch fiddling with the box and says, "Everything all right, Mitch?" With that look people get when they're trying too hard to seem innocent. Let's just say, if vibes could talk, Jason's would be screaming, "I totally did it." But Mitch, being the engineer/prankster he is, doesn't blow the whistle. Nah, he decides to set a trap engineering style. He rigs up a doorbell camera aimed right at the donation box, then gets his buddy Tom to announce real loud, "Just dropped $100 in the fun box. Party's gonna be epic this year. It's bait." And sure enough, not long after the camera catches Jason rifling through the box, except it's empty. Jason throws the box against the wall, muttering, "Damn it, nothing worth taking. Caught red-handed," or so you'd think. But here's the thing about engineers, they can't resist making a simple solution complicated, and sometimes that's a gift. Mitch gets his students in on it, promising extra credit for whoever can design the most obnoxious alarm box. The winning crew, led by this girl Emma, installs a card that blares "Let It Go" from Frozen at maximum volume. And genius move glues it down so it keeps playing until you solve the puzzle hidden release. The next day, Jason falls for it. Whole office hears Idina Menzel wailing, Jason panicking, "Make it stop. How do you shut this thing up?" Mr. Peterson, the owner and Jason's uncle, comes storming in, arms folded. "Jason, my office, now!" 15 minutes later, Jason's walking out with his cardboard box of shame and a note in his file, "Do not rehire, do not recommend." Let's just say justice comes in many forms. Sometimes it sings off key and makes everyone in the office laugh till they can't breathe. And that Christmas Mitch played the video for the whole company, a reminder that, hey, karma's not always subtle. Now, speaking of people who think the world owes them, let me talk about my mother-in-law, Karen. Yeah, real name change, but the energy, pure unfiltered Karen. This woman believes she could just reassign my property like it's an Amazon return. Backstory: I inherited this beautiful 3-acre plot and a cozy house from my granddad title. In my name had it before marriage, my wife cool with it. But Karen, she's always circling, making comments about how we're wasting the land and how her golden boy son, my brother-in-law, the failed real estate mogul, could really make something out of it. Things explode at a family dinner when Karen, dead serious, announces she's drawn up papers to give my house and land to her son. We can stay, she says, but only as tenants. She's waving these fake documents around like she's the queen of property law. My wife's speechless. I calmly explain, "Yeah, no, this is mine, Karen. You can't just assign new owners." She laughs in my face, tells me everything is community property, and get this, as my wife's mother, she has authority over family assets. "Ma'am, you are not the Lord of the Rings." I thought that'd be the end of it. Kick her out, roll my eyes, move on. But Karen kicks off a months-long harassment campaign. shows up unannounced with her son, giving him tours and talking renovations, tells the neighbors the property's under new management. She even files paperwork at the county claiming a family transfer. The clerk calls me up laughing, says, "You got a live one here." The breaking point, Karen and her son show up with a moving truck ready to take possession. She stands on my porch, demands the keys, and threatens to call the cops if I don't comply with the family's decision. So I flip the script, malicious compliance. I say, "All right, Karen, if you're so sure this is yours, move on in. Enjoy." She beams. Son looks queasy, but they take the bait. What Karen doesn't know, that property comes with a gnarly tax lien, a cranky well system, a septic tank on life support, and HOA fees that'll eat you alive if you miss a single payment. The HOA, oh yeah, even out in the sticks, there's a little HOA with enough rules to make you regret freedom. Dues are peanuts, but if you're not on the deed, you can't pay, and they'll slap a lien on you faster than you can say, "I should have read the fine print." So my wife and I pack up, move to a rental in town, and leave them to their new life. 2 weeks go by. Karen's son trashes the place, tries half-baked renovations, skips all the maintenance, and posts their success all over Facebook. That's when I pounce. I file a police report for illegal occupation, hand over my deed and tax receipts, report them to the county for unauthorized construction, and file a formal complaint with the HOA. Cops show up, serve eviction papers, Karen screaming about her rights. But the officers just point to the paperwork and say, "Ma'am, you need to leave before this gets embarrassing." But wait, there's more. Turns out skipping HOA fees and maintenance comes back to bite. The septic tank backs up the well, runs dry, county fines pile up, and every Facebook brag becomes evidence. I sue for damages, property repair, illegal renovations, back HOA fees, emotional distress, you name it. Judge takes one look at the case and says, "Ma'am, you did what Karen tries to play innocent, says I gave her the house. Son says he was misled, but their own posts show they knew exactly what they were doing." In the end, judge slaps them with 30 grand in damages, plus a restraining order keeping Karen 500 feet from my property. Her son files for bankruptcy. The family basically disowns her. And my wife, she's relieved and sad all at once. But watching Karen's face when the judge explained her liability, oh, that was priceless. Sometimes the best revenge is just letting people dig their own holes. I moved back, fixed the place up with their money, and haven't heard a peep from Karen since. Let's lighten up a bit. Ever been the victim of petty parking lot crime? I lived in a condo with assigned spots. One day, I pull in to find some giant SUV parked in my space. Nobody else around, tons of visitor spots, but no, this realtor dude parks right in my spot. I ask him to move. He says no, and launches into a tirade about how he's showing the house and the management told him to park there. Sure, buddy. I could have argued, but instead I walk away, park in a visitor spot, and cue up some loud rap music on my window speaker just in time for his showing. 30 minutes of bass. And I like to think his prospective buyers reconsidered ever living next to a guy who can't follow the simplest rules. Sometimes karma just needs a little nudge, you know. But wait, there's a bigger lesson in the story of hospital restructuring and industrial awards in Australia. A bureaucratic chess match, if you will. Management drops a massive restructure notice before Christmas. Brags about how fast they'll make cuts, but the union, they play it smart. Judge orders genuine consultation, so the union floods management with over 2,000 questions. Management tries to weasel out with yes, no, maybe answers, but the judge isn't buying it. What should have been a 4-week process drags out for 3 years. By the end, hardly anyone loses their job, and folks nearing retirement get plump payouts thanks to the delays. Just goes to show, sometimes all you need to win is to follow the rules with a little enthusiasm. And then there's the funeral fiasco. My dad passes away and I do everything to honor his wishes. Book flights and hotels for the family, cook meals, keep the peace. But certain relatives, they see it as a free vacation. Someone brings an uninvited millionaire cousin. Another brings a disabled child I never knew existed. and the golden child half-sister throws a fit at the funeral just for not being the center of attention. Someone trashes all the food I made, people sneak off to get drunk, and at the end, the same cousins who barely showed up are already begging for money for someone else's wedding. You know, funerals bring out the worst in some folks. By the time it was over, I was done funding the family drama. No more. Last one, just to prove. Entitled parents come in all forms. Biking down a path I try to pass. A slow kid. She veers into me, we both fall, and suddenly her dad appears out of nowhere, raging and demanding my ID, threatening police, ambulance, the works. The kid's fine, just scared. Dad's real focus. Not her, but whether he can get some insurance money. Once he's sure there's no payday, he's out. Meanwhile, the poor bystander who helps us, he's the real MVP. Some people just don't know how to prioritize. So here's the question I want to leave you with. When was the last time you saw justice actually served? And did it feel as good as you hoped? Or maybe you've been on the other end, caught up in some family drama, workplace scheme, or HOA mess you just couldn't make up. Drop your stories, your opinions, your "can you believe this" moments in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed these wild rides through the upside-down world of entitlement and karma, hit that subscribe, smash the like, and let's keep this therapy session rolling. Who knows, next week, maybe it'll be your story, making us all shake our heads and laugh.